One water, one. Okay. Thank you. Okay, Rabbi, so I want to change a little the pace. I want to talk about a shala that lately lots of people ask me, even in this neighborhood, not just in my neighborhood, people are going on cruises. And yeah, but people go. That's, when you have a lot of money, you don't call it shtuit. It usually works that way. You don't have money, you call it shtuit. But if people have money, you say, why not? And I tell you a cute story. My wife was in the hospital. Someone came to me, he says, Rabbi, your wife gets better. I want you to take a cruise with her. I said, what am I going to do 10 days? Not for me. But lots of people have asked me. So the question really is, I want to explain this. It's a long discussion in the Gemara, in the Rishonim, in the Shulchan Aruch, and there's two questions. Are you allowed to go on a boat 3 days before Shabbos? And are you allowed to go on the boat on Shabbos? Someone asked me literally that he's about Shuvah, and his family, every year, the parents take them to a cruise. Every year, and I learned an amazing thing. It says, why do your parents insist that they were going to pay for, catered food for them? So he said to me a very, very insightful thing. He says, I come an hour before Thanksgiving, a party, an hour after time we're gone. My mother says, we don't see you. And the children come for Pesach, they're stuck the whole yontif. Yeah. My mother says, we're going on a cruise, you guys are stuck with me for 7 days. You got to eat. We have a Hashem, a built-in cruise. And we have the family comes together, and we're there. It's true. But anyway, so the question was, by mistake, they go every year, and they schedule it to go on Shabbos. Was he allowed to go on the boat Shabbos? Not allowed to go on the boat Shabbos? What are the questions? So let me just briefly say, in the Gemara, interesting Gemara. Gemara says, 3 days before Shabbos, you're not allowed to go on a boat. 3 days before, that means, but Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you're allowed to. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're not allowed to. Interesting Gemara. So there's 4 shittas in the Rishonim, 4 opinions in the early Rishonim. What is the lucky number 3? What is this all about? And what exactly is the problem going on about Shabbos? What is it? So the Rif, which is a very early edition, and the Rosh, and other people follow this opinion, held that really going on a boat is the problem that you become seasick. And if you become seasick, you will not be able to make Suda Shabbos. You remember? I asked someone who this today, I knew that he went on a cruise. It says the first thing you get on the cruise is they give you a patch. Yep. The first thing. You went, yeah? The first thing to do is to give you a patch, because many people get seasick, and that's a medicine, not to get seasick. So the Rif learned that you can't go out 3 days before, because if you're going to go 3 days, you're going to be mevatel Suda Shabbos. You're not allowed to mevatel Suda Shabbos. So anyway, coming back, that's one reason. So the Gemara says, for that reason, the Gemara says, if you go to the Dvar Mitzvah, you're allowed to. Why for Dvar Mitzvah you're allowed to go? So the Gemara says, because Dvar Mitzvah, because the only reason you're not allowed to go, because in Batel Moinik Shabbos, or Isig Mitzvah, Potem and a Mitzvah. You know what that means? If I'm doing one, if let's say I'm going to Eretz Yisrael, that's a big Mitzvah. So even though now you're getting on the boat 3 days before Shabbos, you won't be able to eat Oinik Shabbos, you won't be able to do the Shenu. We have a Klal, Oisig Mitzvah, Putam and a Mitzvah. That's how the Rif's opinion is. And the Rif clearly says, If there's going to be any other violation besides Suda Shabbos, you're not allowed to. That's the Rif held that if there's a problem of Tchumim, or you're going to have to do the Rabbanan or the Raisa, there's no head to, you're not allowed to go on a boat, period. That means there is no problem. Why is there no problem? You're going on a boat, Berov Agoyim. So the Goyim are doing it for themselves. Very important. The Rav people are going, that all the malachas on the boat, those days even though there was no machine, but they used to tie the ropes and pull the sail. There was a lot of malachas done. I don't know how to run a sail ship, but seems like a lot of malachas done. And he says, they do it for the Goyim, do it for the majority. But if there wouldn't be, if you know that going 3 days before Shabbos, or even all week long there's going to be a problem, according to the Rif, you're not allowed to go. So that's one opinion. So that's a very stringent opinion because the Rif says, let me tell you before we learn weiter. Anyone learn Daf Yomi? Anyone learn? You learn? So the Gemara in Daf Yomi says, a quick question: Yesh tchum l'ma'ala masora, ain't tchum l'ma'ala masora. Above 10 is there tchumim or there's not tchumim? So the Gemara comes out, a very interesting Gemara. It's a Lubavitcher topic, Mashiach Aliyahu. This is a famous Gemara. Do you know why this is so famous? The Gemara says very clearly, Mashiach cannot come unless Aliyahu comes. Right? And I don't know if you know the famous Kasha, which I once saw in one of the pamphlets the Lubavitcher Rebbe asked. Someone quoted it, but this is not his Kasha. It's from much earlier. The Rambam doesn't bring Eliyahu Novi. You know that. Doesn't quote Eliyahu Novi. In Hilchas Malachim, he talks about Mashiach. He doesn't say that Mashiach comes, Eliyahu Novi has to come the day before. The Gemara says clearly, if Eliyahu Novi doesn't come, no Mashiach. Clearly, no ifs, ands, and buts.
But the Rambam doesn't say it at all.
Doesn't say it. That's a question. Why did the Rambam leave that out? That's a big question that the early Rishonim already asked on the Rambam.
Maybe the Rambam held you already came.
And the Rambam and the Rabbis learned from this Gemara. If you learn Daf Yomi, so the Rabbis learned from this Gemara too that the Gemara says where is Mashiach going to come? To Bezdin Agadol. We don't have a Bezdin Agadol. I don't know if you know that modern Orthodox after World War II wanted to make a Sanhedrin.
Rabbi Steinsaltz wanted to set it up.
Also wanted to set up. Else this Gemara. Because the Rambam says this is going to be a Bezdin Agadol. That's why the Rambam held if Kol Chachma Hador get together, they could recreate a Sanhedrin. So this is an old machlekes that goes.
Or something like that?
Right, and Tzvas, that was the machlekes in the Ralbach and the Ribarav, which they wanted to create a Sanhedrin Etzisol in the times of the Rizal, the Yosef. Anyway, so that's an old historical thing. I want to focus on something else now. So the Gemara comes out. There's a question. Yesh tchum l'ma'ala masor, ain't tchum l'ma'ala masor. We paskin, Rav Rishonim paskin, ain't tchum, the boy, the la'ifshita, you go to kula, ain't tchum l'ma'ala masor. That means, if you get onto a cruise on Shabbos, let's say, you're not allowed to go, but let's say you did get onto a cruise on Shabbos, you know, the bottom of the boat to the ocean floor, it's called, is a lot more than 10 tefachim. Otherwise, they'll be in trouble, you know what I mean? Major trouble. Deep trouble, as he says. So it's very, very high. So it's l'ma'ala masura tefachim. So let's say you did get onto the boat, which we later learn you're not get on the boat for other reason, and the boat left, you didn't do an issa going chitzah tchum. Because ein tchumim l'ma'ala masura. That's it. But the Chazal, the Rishonim say, Chazal said you're not allowed to go on a boat in Shabbos. Do you know why you're not allowed to go on a boat Shabbos, says Tosis? Tosis says Chazal didn't want you to get on Shabbos itself, because we worried. Chazal said you're not allowed to go on a small boat, a small canoe, or what it's called, rowboat, small boat. So about two tritzim Tosis says, maybe you're going to make chuviyah shel shaitan, you're going to make yourself a tube to swim, or Tosis says maybe you'll get off the boat and push the canoe, daladamas, in the river. On the ocean, you'll carry daladamas. I want to tell you a historical fact. Any Iraqis over here? Not? I'll tell you an interesting thing. The Ben Ish Chai wrote, when a bike came out, what do you say? When a bike came out, the Ben Ish Chai held, you're allowed to drive on a bike. On Shabbos. even there's no Erev. How could that be?
You recreated. Oh, so it's not.
No. There's a very interesting Gemara. Let me tell you an interesting Gemara. Gemara says if you carry a chai on a stretcher, who could walk? Let's not say an injured, someone who could walk. Okay, a guy could walk, but you carry him on a stretcher. You push a person and a carriage who could walk, a baby who could walk. Not a baby who cannot walk. Let's stick with Kila Almas Boy, the Chai Noises Asma. What Chai Noises Asma mean? You carry a baby, you're not doing any Issa. So if you carry a baby in a carriage, Gemara says the carriage is bottled to the baby, you put on the carriage. Famous Gemara. So he said, I cannot carry the baby, Midrabanim, I'm not allowed to carry, even though Chai Noises Asma, Midrabanim, I'm not allowed to carry. But I'm allowed to carry myself. So if I'm getting on the bike is bottled to me. If the bike is bottled to me, I'll wheel myself on Shabbos, even there's no Erev. Understand this chap. Again, Menat Torah, you're allowed to carry someone who could walk. It's on Medrabanim you're allowed to. So the Gemara says if you person who could walk is on a stretcher or on the carriage, and you're pushing the carriage, you're not chayv on the carriage. Why? Because the carriage is bottled to the baby. So since I could push the baby, Menat Torah, so you can push the carriage. Medrabanim, you're not allowed to carry a baby. That's Medrabanim. But I could surely walk myself on the streets, right? Am I allowed to carry myself? So if I'm allowed to carry myself, I'm allowed to get into a bike, the bike is bottled to me. So, what's wrong? So they point out that Tosis here says, why can't I go on a boat? So Tosis says, I might get off the canoe and carry it. You ever notice bikers always get off the bike and walk? So for that reason, if there's no Erev for sure, it's awesome. You follow? But even with an Erev, they always also because you might fix the chain. That's a Saiti Gezach. So Chazal said you cannot go onto a boat. So let's say it's this the reason.
With the rice, so it's okay to use a bike.
And I'll tell you, you're allowed to use a bike.
Kabbalah Center people on Friday nights.
Is this the smart that someone who someone's in a wheelchair wheels himself to start and the smart that is finished?
That's a different. The reason why a person in a wheelchair can push themselves in a wheelchair is because the wheelchair is their legs. That's a different reason. That's another Gemara. That's another Gemara. Why? We don't make Zaydas for such a situation. That's a famous kasha. Why don't you make Zayd on the wheel? Well, let's focus on this. So there's, on Shabbos, you cannot get into a boat. For this reason...
Once again, is that an issue of getting on Shabbos? Meaning, let's say the boat was leaving on Shabbos, but they let me board on Friday. I'd have to ask Shmuley Weaver if they would allow it. But let's say they would allow that. Does that solve that issue?
Some of the Shonim hold yes. Many of the Shonim hold yes. That if I go on Erev Shabbos, it goes on. So this person, I asked them, can you go on the boat? They were supposed to leave for Shabbos. No way they're going to let him on. On Friday. No way. They don't have insurance and they don't have this, right? They begged and the money, nothing. They had not insured, they wouldn't let you, and then it's dangerous, and they don't take responsibility, etc., etc.
Maybe it's not ready.
Huh?
Maybe the boat's not ready.
There's security sweeps and all kinds of other stuff that they do. Cleaning, and it has nothing to do with insurance and stuff. It has to do with the fact they just don't want you on because they need everyone off so they can do this.
Because we just came back from a journey.
Yeah, they need to clean it. They need to clean it. They need to prepare it for the next.
Okay, the kids in short. So that's the other Shonim. So let me go. So again, so one reason is another reason the Shonim learn is this reason. Since I'm not allowed to go onto a boat Shabbos, so the Tois is held 3 days before Shabbos. I'm not allowed to go because then it's like going on a boat on Shabbos. Other Shonim disagreed vehemently, but that's how the Ri learned. The Ri learned that 3 days before Shabbos I'm not going on a boat because if I get onto a boat, it's like I would have gone on the Shabbos. Other Rishonim disagree. Why do they disagree? They held that's not the reason, because just like I'm allowed to put up a clock to make the lights go on, correct? I'm allowed to turn on Erev Shabbos the water to keep on watering the fields. And if I put it on before Shabbos, then nowadays even better. I'm allowed to put up a clock. It's going to turn on the water. It's going to water the field. I'm making a malucha. So if I get onto the boat before Shabbos, I'm not doing anything. Let's say I get onto the boat and a clock is going to move the boat for me. I'll set up a clock. If I'm allowed to set a clock, the light should go on. Why can't I set a clock? So most Rishonim disagree with the Ri, but the Ri is a Balotaisus, and they.
Getting on Shabbos, what's the Isser?
Chazal said on the bottom, maybe two reasons. Either you're going to make a tube, and a small boat, even though it's big enough. The second reason, you might move the boat. So the Tosfos says the Chazal did not want to make an afkim. A small boat, a big boat.
In order to get to the boat.
No, he doesn't say that. Chazal made a loy plig. Small, those days most boats were small, so the Chazal made a loy plig. You know what loy plig means? Yeah, but those days they didn't have such boats. Yeah, but those days. Yeah, but Chazal, the Mei Chazal wasn't that way. Most boats were canoes and small boats. So when they made a loy plig, we can't change that. We have a rule.
Are you saying that this boat is not a boat?
It is a boat.
Huh?
It is a boat.
It's a city.
But it's a boat.
It's like 4,000 people.
But it's a boat.
At what point does it like become like part of land? Like can you just declare?
But it's a boat. It goes on the ocean. We just figured out to make it bigger.
How do they make a little leak?
Chazal, Tosfos agrees that Tosfos agrees that only a small one is a problem. He says clearly, but Chazal made it. When did they decide? That's with their wisdom. We allow.
What do they do? I mean, it's written.
When it says any boat, so Tosfos what bothered? Why any boat? A small boat, I understand. How about a big boat?
So a boat with an anchor.
They won't get out.
Two reasons. Chazal did not want you to go swim. You're not allowed to go swim Shabbos. Why you can't go to swim? Because it might make yourself a tube. They didn't have, a floater. They didn't have those days, you're going to a store. And today, no one makes anything. You know what I mean? I didn't even know how to screw in something. You have to go a handyman, Rabbi Shalom. You know what I mean? Wife gets annoyed with me. You don't know how to do anything. We live in a society.
The problem swimming on Shabbos today, the same idea.
Yeah, that's why you're not allowed to. So the Tosfos one, and second answer Tosfos says you might get off the canoe and push it. So how about the Tosfos talks about big boats because they used to go to Rome. They didn't go on canoes to Rome. The Gemara talks about the Tanum going to Rome, and to Italy. They didn't go to Italy with a rowboat. So Tosfos explains Chazal made a loy plig. Loy plig means cross the board. You're going to say this boat, that boat, that boat. Cross the boat, no boats.
If the boat touches the land, like let's say it sinks, but the top part is still on it, is that considered part of the land?
That's a machlokes of the Shah. I'll get to that in a minute. That's a big machlokes.
By extension, does the anchor connected to the land?
Yeah, I will explain that. I will get to that in a minute. So that's that he learned. I want to first go through the shittas. Then there's a third shitta, which is a moiridiga thing. The Balamur held that the reason you can't go on a boat, not because of the Shabbos, not because you're going to Tchum, because most boats go Lamala Masora. It's not a problem. Problem was, you're going to have to do, we're talking about you're going to a boat, you're going to have to make sure to, Shabbos comes to fix the how's it called, the sails, because you're not scun if you don't do. You're out in the ocean, you got to keep on fixing.
What did they do back then? The Yidden who were like sailing.
Yeah, so that's what the Balamur holds. The Balamur holds that if I go 3 days before Shabbos, you're obligated to make sure you don't come to Chilul Shabbos. So you're obligated not to come to Chilul, don't go. More than 3 days belongs to the last week Shabbos, so you're allowed to go on the boat, because even though you come to Chilul Shabbos, I'm stuck in the ocean, I'm allowed to come to Chilul Shabbos. So the Shulchan Aruch explains this moiridik. The Shulchan Aruch has a great explanation. He says, to explain this, he says, the Rabbanim, it says, Minat Torah, a young man asked me recently, I live far away from Yas Kaiser. So do I'm obligated, and his wife was in labor Friday, am I obligated now to take out a motel next to Kaiser? I should leave Chalav Shabbos? So you're not going to Chalav Shabbos, take a taxi. I said, I don't even have to take a taxi. I don't know, the Kaiser has a motel, someplace in the neighborhood, and I could just walk right over. Do I have to do it or not? You don't have to do it. You can't. The Rishonim hold that the Shulchan Aruch explains, I'm not allowed to put myself in a bad situation. That means you're not allowed to go sailing 3 days before Shabbos, knowing you're going to come to Chilul Shabbos. Because it's only with the Rabbanim. If it comes to Chilul Shabbos, you're noinus. But 4 days you're allowed to. Even though I know for sure I'll come to Chilul Shabbos.
What about
According to this opinion, Why would it matter 3 days or 4 days if you know you're gonna come to Chil Shabbos?
You know you're gonna be told.
The Balamud explains 3 days before Shabbos belongs to Shabbos, and 3 days before Shabbos belongs to Shabbos, and 3 days after. The Gemara says the 3 days after Shabbos in Chassidus, it's brought down a lot. 3 days after Shabbos belongs to Shabbos, and 3 days before Shabbos belongs to the next Shabbos. The 3 days that the Zohar explains. But anyways, he's going with the Gemara says that too. So he says you are obligated 3 days before Shabbos to take care of those 3 days they're not to come to Chil Shabbos. More than that, there's no obligation. I'm not obligated Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to do something I know I might come to Chil Shabbos. I'm allowed to go into a boat, even though I know they're not talking about a caravan too. They used to go on these long caravans, and it used to be dangerous. The Rabban disagrees vehemently. He says if you're going to come to Chil Shabbos from the beginning of the week, you're not allowed to go.
Right.
Vehemently, he says, we're talking only the Rabbanim. The Goy is going to do a Halacha for you. That means the 3 days before Shabbos, I'm allowed to go on a boat. I'm not allowed to go on a boat because the Goy is going to do a Halacha. 4 days before Shabbos, I don't care if a Goy does a Halacha for me. That's how he explains.
Cruise ships, that also would be an issue, because like you said, the majority are going, they're not doing
So
it.
says the Ramban, if the majority of Goyim is not a problem. The Ramban Taka holds that if you go on a cruise ship with the majority of Goyim, you're not going out of Shabbos.
The majority of the crew or the majority of the
The
people?
crews, the part of the people. But let's say these huge boats. If
There's
they,
no cruise ship with kosher
No, no,
liquor where
but
majority
they
of
have
the people
these-
are Jews.
Well, no, but they have these cruise ships that are 300, 400 people, and then they're taking out...
between 4,000.
Well, no, I'm talking about the smaller ones. The
Yeah,
smaller
but I had a guy who goes smaller one. He told me there were 2,000 non-Jews and 200 Jews. The
Right, no,
Chazonim.
but there's even smaller, it's like 400. I'm saying, what if, there's
If the
400?
majority will be that'd be a
That's
problem. That's a problem. So according to the Ramban, if you go on a big cruise, you're allowed to go on Erev Shabbos onto it. According to Balamud also.
Getting sick about the whole bit.
Today there's a patch.
Even today, the getting sick doesn't really apply.
No, they don't get sick. I asked people who went, they put the patch on, you don't feel anything. A guy told me he gets quickly. It says the guy says the guy told me that who gets sick quickly, and I put on the patch. It is the 1, 2, 3 works. Any
Just put
found.
it on the night before, whatever. Yeah,
Anyways.
Take some time to get it to your
System. Okay. So now, let me go back. So the question really now is, so according to all these reasoning, the boat is above 10 tefachim. So you're allowed to go Erev Shabbos into a boat. You're not going to go Chitzat Chum. There ain't Chum in the Ma'ana Masada. The reason of the Ramban and the Baal Armor doesn't apply. Most of these boats are Goyim. You know what you just said. A guy told me, I asked this guy, went to a cruise, it's 4,000 people. It's just amazing. So 15 stories tall, he told me. So, it's like, so Mela, the majority are going. So these the two reasons about, Toys's reason doesn't apply. And the Shulchan Aruch said the minig was not like Toys's. The Mekel, if it's the Malam Osura. So now the question comes up, let me just go to another question. The question is, how about a plane? Let me tell you why this question comes up. Lots of people fly to the Far East. There's a new Zach, people fly, do business with Hong Kong. And I have a person ask me, he does business in South Korea, what's called Seoul. He goes, and you get onto the plane Friday afternoon, and for 3 hours it becomes Shabbos, and after 3 hours, miraculously, they change the date line, and it becomes Thursday night. If you follow the Chazonish's date line, which most poskim had that way. So one guy tells me, one time I'm there, and the plane got delayed. And it was 6 o'clock when I got onto the plane. It's the winter now. South of the, what do you say?
They don't change the hour.
I don't know, but Bekitza, he says, before I turn around, I noticed Shabbos. He said, I almost had a panic attack, he tells me. And so I said, what do you do? I don't know, I just got onto the plane. So I explained to him the only isser he really did, I'll explain to you in a minute, but the only really problem is he carried his computer, which is a very chashiv, his house got laptop, which has all his work on it, And so you should have asked the guy to take up his laptop and what it's called, the iPod, what is going iPod, the music.
It was muksa.
That was muktzah. He should have asked the guy to take
He
it
was
out.
already carrying it, you could drop it.
Well, just tell us the guy. He realized your Shabbos. Do me a favor to take it onto the plane. But let me explain why is there no problem getting onto the plane. So this is what he asked before. There's another question in the Paiskim. What do we measure l'ma'ala masora? The first question comes in a wagon. He's sitting in a wagon you're above l'ma'ala masora, right? Or you are, let's say, you're going on a train. So the first time the trains used to travel Shabbos started with when the trains were introduced into the 200 years ago, 250 years ago, they made trains that would travel days, So are you going chitzet chum? So most of the Shiurim held the wheels as tochasara. Since the wheels are tochasara, that means even though you are sitting on the train, you're high, but since the wheels on the ground, it's called it's called chum. You're going chitzet chum. So a guy cannot get into a train and travel. So l'choira, maybe a plane is also that way. That is a big machlokes. You understand that Shulchan Aruch also brings the two opinions.
Before it's taken off.
What do we count? Do we count where you're sitting on the wagon, or do we count the wheels on the floor? So somehow we count the wheels on the floor. That means you b'toch hasoda. Somehow, wait a minute, I'm sitting above 10. So you understand the question? If I go where I'm sitting, you're allowed to be traveling on the train.
It's only for the Israel
Tchum. Because you got onto the train Friday, it's going to go traveling the whole time on Shabbos. Chitzet Tchum. I'm talking in New York City. Traveling, they used to travel from city to city, all the trains. Okay? So this is the question. The Shulchan Aruch says, big machlokes, early machlokes. He says, b'shas atchak you could be mekel. Why is this negay? Not only the plane, I'll get to you in a minute. And there's a famous story that happened a few winters ago. Every few years, this story happened. People go traveling at Shabbos in New York City, and a snowstorm hits. And that a few years ago, about 6 years ago, a bus traveled on Shabbos, came into Lakewood. There was a snowstorm. By the time they arrived into Lakewood, it was Shabbos. If you go chitzet chum on Shabbos, you only have daladamas. So let's say you're allowed to get into the house because it's dangerous to be outside in the snow, but you get into the house, you can't move daladamas. Not so bad. The Mishnah says daladamas. Do we say that or not? So if we say,
Why can't you say it was a city?
he was traveling and on the Garden State Parkway, it's not a city. But still about Korcha. He has daladamas. He has daladamas.
One second, isn't there a thing, if they force you into this, if they bring you to the city, then you have a...
Who said, there's two answers. Who says this is called force? They could have gone off the bus before they knew it was getting late. And I asked the guy, why did you get off the bus and take a motel on the Garden State? It's like a hotel, one after another. Every exit there's a motel. He could have done that. We want to get home. The feeling is, I'm on the bus now.
What do you mean?
Yeah, well, no scan of the motel. You check in a motel. So it's not so simple. But if you that it could be if a guy has a family, small children, who knows what. But it wasn't with small children. It's most newlyweds, couples. But let's say you're right. But let's say you're right, then you're right. There's according to one opinion. Not everyone agrees to that. But let me just explain. But the bus is also the Ma'ala Masara. So we're never going to shvisa. So you come into the city, then you have the whole city because you're never going to shvisa on the bus, on the thing.
the wheels.
Also, if it's moving, it's not really kind of street.
But he stops. The bus stopped. There was traffic, and we stopped 100 times.
It says it's Shas Atchak, not counting the wheels.
B'shas atchak we count where you're sitting.
You can count where you're sitting.
Right.
But Chatchila, you always should consider.
No, b'shas atchak.
You always go lahakil, no?
He says only b'shas atchak, says the Rav, and the Mishnah Berurah also both say only b'shas atchak. With Chumim wait because there's Rav Rishonim. Right. Yes, but Chumim go, but not when it's Rav Rishonim. I mean, over here it's a big machlokes. That's what.
When they get to the city and then
No, but that's something else. That's what'd you say?
they get to Lakewood.
So they got to Lakewood. They had to get off the bus. It's a Goyish bus, but in the place where there's Erev, once you come into the city, You never koine shvisa. You koine shvisa now in the city.
Therefore,
Therefore, you're allowed to go all over the city.
why did you say you only dollar almost 600?
If I don't consider that, if I consider that you were the bus stopped, let's say once. So if the bus stopped once on Shabbos, you would koine shvisa right then. And if you koine shvisa, now you went chitzet chum. You got into the city chitzet chum.
Only if you count the wheels as
Right. But if you don't, you never koine shvisa. Then you koine shvisa over there. Follow?
in the city,
In the city.
because you stepped out.
Because now you're in the city. You never had a shvisa anyplace else.
No.
Let's start again. If a person, let's just say, if a person, the bus stopped and he got up from the bus on Shabbos, you stepped onto the floor, you koine shvisa there, and if the bus keeps on traveling, you went chitzet chum, you only have daladamas. But he never got off the bus. He was on the bus, and we consider b'di'evet where you're sitting l'ma'ala sort. So we never koine shvisa. So once you come into the city, that's where your shvisa is. So you can leave now the city like a regular city person. But now, how about the plane? So even if you're going to be machman on the plane, this question comes out like Tchila, can you fly? No, he said, one guy told me that it depends which airline you take. But one of the airlines he takes from Hong Kong is, it's always late. He says it's late. Look at Tchila, are you allowed to do that? So let me explain something. Is the runway inside the city or is the runway outside the city? See, a runway is part of a city. Let's say over here, the runway over here. You ever went behind the runway? Behind the runway, there's the beaches, there's a park even there. You know, people like to watch the planes. You know what I'm talking about? Behind the runway. So you see, it's part of the city. The runway, every big city needs an airport, just like it needs a freeway. We don't say the freeway cuts the city in half and the city is divided. No. Part of a city is you need freeways, you need roads. And part of it you need such. That's called, Dira doesn't mean living as a person. A big market is part of the city. It doesn't cut the city in half. A city needs a market, it needs a square, a town square. The city needs an airport, just like it needs freeways. So when when they have a fence around the airport, that's called part of the city. So when the plane goes off, it never went the tchumim, never left the tchum. You are imagine you would have the airport middle, you wouldn't have such a big plane. You would have a helicopter, even a car that, when I was a teenager, they said in 20 years from now, everyone is going to fly with a car. I'm waiting for that. It hasn't happened yet. I remember I was a young child in '63. There was the World's Fair in New York. I was a young child, and they said everyone's going to be flying in a flying car. You know, but the bottom line is that you're such a kid. This part of the city, the freeway, the what is called. Yeah, but if it's not dira, it doesn't help you gate it. If it's not a dira, gating doesn't help. If you know that. No. You can't gate, if you gate something not a dira, more than basis sign. Remember, you know the Gemara, if something is more than basis sign, if it's not made a dira, then that doesn't help you. But this is, I asked someone, why is there so much empty space at the end of the runway? He says the planes need to have that empty space because the plane goes off, you don't want to blow the whole place away. The suction of the blowing of the engine, they need the place. It's part of an airport needs. That breite Platz, he's saying Yiddish.
So why is it an issue? Because you're getting on.
So the play in a dire, and you're in the city. So now, once he goes up, it's a malam asura, ain't chin a malam asura. So you never.
Is that a problem? But isn't that going out of your tchum? I mean,
There's no tchum. It's like going on a boat Shabbos according to some other Shiurim.
When do we say tefillah sederach?
I say tefillah sederach as soon as the plane starts going. Because the most dangerous time is then. The dangerous time is not when it's in the air. They tell you the most dangerous time is.
I don't understand. Is it a danger or is it that you're leaving your tchum? It's about danger.
What's danger have to do with tchum? The reason you say it for the sederach, then you say it for the sederach when it's the most dangerous. The most dangerous part of a plane is not when it's flying, it's 30,000 feet up. The most dangerous coming up and coming down. 90% of the accidents, there was just an accident. The plane went into the river. I think it landed or took off, or I forgot which one it was. Landed. It's either landing or taking off is the dangerous.
So if you're driving a far distance?
That's the-
Is there because there? I know from Sfardim there is. Sfardim, if they drive, what is it? How long does Sfardim drive? They think of the. They leave the city.
You leave the city, you leave the mountain.
So that's something to do with the phone.
Okay. I'm sorry. What did you just say?
We're back with the boat.
So now, so the plane, theoretically, I'm not saying you should do a likitchila. I tell that. I didn't say a guy is stuck there, and I'm not. I said you don't get onto a plane Friday night, because
Make your tickets on
I tell you why.
Oh, but there was a guy that
Got delayed. He got delayed.
He would fly on Friday, and there was always 3 hours.
Yeah, that's okay.
When it was Shabbos.
Yeah, that's okay.
He's
Why is
not
that
right,
okay?
he's not able to the
Yeah,
bathroom.
yeah. Why is that okay? Once he's on the plane, people leave Australia too much of Shabbos. Once he's on the plane, he can massage himself. I went to the bathroom. A guy tells me when he does these trips, the first thing he does, the first 4 hours he doesn't do nothing, takes a sleeping when he goes to sleep.
I did it once. I texted you from but I left in the morning, but there was a stopover in Japan. I got on the plane 3 hours before Shabbos.
Before Shabbos.
And it was like 2 hours ago.
So just to make sure those 2 hours, I
I
remember.
just asked you, my question was, because I asked you before, my question was not to say Kiddush or something.
I said no. Yeah. So you leave Sunday morning Australia, according to Chazon Ish, you become Shabbos. That's where you. I don't know. I don't know why many people in Australia not listen to that. You're going to Chazon Ish, you get onto a plane Sunday morning on Australia. As soon as you leave, get onto the beach, it became Shabbos morning. Doesn't Lubavitcher Yosef Yitzchak in the Tshuva? If I'm right, I saw it. He's Mesupik. Friedrich Rebbe was Mesupik. He says he's not. He doesn't say Vade one way, Vade the other way.
The Rosh is a whole.
That has nothing to do with the date line. He has to work with the Svira.
Right.
But nothing with the date line. What?
We hold a point to the international.
Doesn't, I'll look it up again. But I remember well in the what's name in the.
You leave the land according to Chazon Ish, now it's Shabbos.
Right.
Shabbos in America.
Yeah, most of Chorim hold that way. Most of
Sunday
them.
holds that the line is right by the edge of the
Right.
by the beach in Australia.
So everyone agrees it's not international date line. That's for sure. No one holds that way.
Right to 11 Australia.
I want to say everyone international date line. I want to. If did I give a sheet ever on the date line over here? No, maybe one day I'll give it. The international date line has nothing to do. No shit those international date line, because that was a made up thing. They made it up because you had to go out to make a time. You know, you have to. If you know how the time works, you have to have. So they chose middle of the Pacific. There's very little land there. Just a bunch of Solomon Islands, whatever it's called, Solomon Islands. A bunch of, Fiji, whatever is there. A bunch of small islands. So the world doesn't care much. So Mela, that's what it. But the question is it 18 hours away from Eretz Yisrael or is it 12 hours away? So the other shit holds that it's past Hawaii. So according to that's why it doesn't make sense. Chabad people in Hawaii keep like Hawaii. But and they leave Australia on Friday because of the other shit holds is 12 hours. If you hold it's 12 hours, you know what? One day I'll give a sheet. I see you guys are confused. We'll bring a huge globe and I'll explain it.
You have to be consistent.
You got to be consistent. And the problem is that the way I understand what goes on, some Lubavitcher, they're not consistent. If you hold that you're allowed to leave Sunday morning, you're allowed to leave Australia, then you have to.
Then what's with Hawaii?
Then Hawaii is not say. Then Hawaii right now, Hawaii is 3 hours before us. It's 6:45 Monday. But if you hold the date line, it's 6:45 Sunday. No, 6:45 Tuesday. The next day. See, New Zealand. Guy told me they opened the Chabad house in New Zealand. So I asked the guy, what do they keep in New Zealand? So they keep it like New Zealand. According to Rav Achronim, New Zealand, that's why most Hungarian Jews moved out. There was no from Jews for many years in New Zealand. For that reason. Because New Zealand, according to Chazon Ish, not just many Achronim held that New Zealand is the other side of the date line. But if you follow the other date line, then it's 12 hours away. It's past, one day we'll get a huge map over here, blown up map. We'll hang it up in the wall. We'll get someone to do it, and we'll talk about the date line. to explain how it works, the dateline. But
What's the psak with the boat then?
so coming back, and a boat, so going onto a boat on Shabbos, you really not allowed to, because Chazal, according to everyone agrees, you can't go on. Rov Rishonim hold you can't go
Friday,
to.
it seems that it should be.
Friday, you should be able to go onto a boat because all the reasons doesn't apply. Reason, sickness doesn't apply. Only reason that Rov Rishonim hold that the Shulchan Aruch says you should make it a tzoyrach. Okay, you can't tell a guy
Getting off the boat.
Friday.
If it comes in on Shabbos,
You're allowed to get off. You did nothing. You did nothing. You always l'malam, so you're allowed to get off the boat. The problem is, I tell people, if they have to get off the boat Shabbos, what are you going to do with your mix of things? You got to take your luggage off.
right.
There's other major, and you got to carry. At the Long Beach, this guy had the boat was leaving at Long Beach port. How?
Right to do everything.
Yeah, but they shouldn't. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to put yourself in a situation.
If you're on a cruise, and cruises, they stop in places that have
So I tell them.
day excursions. Am I allowed to walk off on Shabbos?
So I told them, don't walk off Shabbos, because if you're going to walk off Shabbos, your next thing is to do shopping. A whole boat, everyone goes shopping and doing. It's very easy. That's why I tell Eitzer Tov Kamash Malan.
What's the issue then?
Shopping?
No. What's the issue with leading to shopping? I don't understand.
Oh, you might go shopping.
So it's just
You
a
go all
fence?
You're gonna have to. You might have to. You sign your credit card, buying Shabbos.
When you're going off the cruise ship, you have those scanner checks to get back on and go
Right.
off. You're doing
There's a lot of halachas being involved.
You have to take your card with you.
You have to take the card with you. A lot of not practical things.
She's saying if it docks in, let's say, the Bahamas, you should stay on the boat.
Stay in a boat.
How about the bathrooms that have?
Well, the bathroom in the room doesn't have the electrical thing. The outside bathrooms don't have it. I don't know how it works exactly. It's a problem. The room itself is a problem because the room itself works with the electric card. So, he told me, this guy told me, I left the door unlocked. I had nothing. I had no jewelry. There was nothing to steal from me.
A lot of the cruise ships now, with the Jews, and they know when like a staff member, when someone
Comes with me there for you. Yeah.
they just train them. We're crazy. Come help us.
Same issue, I mean, I'll tell you go to today.
The what?
The room test and all.
No, but they know. They train the crew.
Well,
that
it's a if there's no choice, I mean. So coming back, so you're allowed to be kitzur, you're allowed to go on about Erev Shabbos. And if you're stuck on a plane, like, what's his name? John Yonason? Yonason, you have a Yiddish name. Yonason. So about making Kiddush, I remember I told it to you, people have asked me this. They asked me, can I eat right away? So I tell them, wait till it becomes non-Shabbos, because if it's Shabbos, maybe you have to make Kiddush before you eat. So, what are you going to make Kiddush, you make Kiddush, you're going to eat, and then it becomes non-Shabbos, you make again Kiddush. So I tell most people, don't make, I told you not to make Kiddush, but I tell you. Told you not to. Oh, that's what I said, that's what I usually tell people. How come
I was at a point where I wasn't sure where I was, because there was a screen showing me or whatever. So, and I ended up, thank God, being upgraded on this plane. So I asked my neighbor, I'm like, how do you operate this chair? Because it's electrical, to go to sleep. So he's like, he thought it was crazy, so he pushed the button and I fell.
Very good.
You got on Friday and
I got on Friday morning, but there's a stopover. Right? The stopover was 3 hours before Shabbat started in the area. That's when we took off, and then somewhere in the middle.
you were in Shabbos.
Never had the Shalos, but lots of people flying to the Far East, and you're not the only one who does it. Okay. Any other questions about this?
Well, I was
Good
asking.
question. You have to walk around carrying this thing on a ship, hotel, the way I understand it is, it's always because there's a joint kitchen that everyone eats from. Does that work on a ship with 4,000 people?
Yeah, let me explain to you. If
Is there mechitzas? I mean,
no, you need a native. He's asking what happens with the Riva Chatzeros. So you only need the Riva Chatzeros, only if the two Yidden who asim ze al ze. Let's say the two from Yidden, and they're not eating from one kitchen. I bought my food, you bought your food. So we both brought separate food. So then, and then we have to rent from the goyim. But there's no other. Let's say they all. Let's say they had this cruise with the Chazanim. They had about 200 people out in there. So that cruise, they all ate from one kitchen. There was a caterer, a Jewish caterer they had, and so it's like all one family. Just like if you have your wife and children, and if you have married children staying with you, this is all one family eating together. You don't need a native. So if everyone eats from one place, you don't need it. If there will be someone's going to eat from his own food, and you're going to eat from your own food, then you have two Yidim eating the whole food there. You have to make a Erev. Then you have to rent the Rishus from a Goy. Same thing, a hotel. If a Shabbaton doesn't need a native. But if you are in a hotel where you eat your own food and there's someone else eats also their own food, so most places can hold you need a native then.
If somebody brings their own food, that messes it up?
That messes it up. Big time. Yes.
You assume you're going to be the only Jew?
You need two people to ask us, two different families.
So if the food is being provided by the boat, then you're okay?
Then you're okay. That's it. This Jew. This
So you're getting breakfast from the boat, but you have your challenge,
the main meal. The main meal. If you have your own main meal, that's a problem. Let me give you the most. The front people. I asked them what they did. They had they had a separate section in the boat.
Oh, but that's if you go on one of those.
Yes, but if you go your own, I had a guy in my shul who went on. He had Pats make the food for him, everything. So he only found fry people on the boat. He went to Alaska thing. He said it was only not from people. Yeah, if there'll be other from people on the boat own food, then it makes a big problem.
No, but if they're all fry, it makes a difference.
It doesn't make a difference. The gabadis, a fry person has then as a goy.
Then how could you make that Eruv? Can you make
Yes, you make it even chetzedes, and you rent the rishus from the goy. You go to the owner of the boat, not the manager, and you give him a dollar. When I was young, I came to the Catskills, and I had two daughters were counselors then. So I brought them for Shabbos, and we stayed at a motel. So, and there was a lot of from families. So I go to the motel owner, and I want to give him a dollar. He looked at me. He was a Pakistani that I fell off the moon. So I said, "You don't have every week religion?" He said, "No one ever did this to me." He thought it was a hocus pocus. You know what I mean? It looks like I never did it because we had 2 rooms and we ate together. You know, we brought food together. My 2 daughters and I think one of my sons, and we ate together. And there are other front people in the motel. So then you need a native. But if no one eats there, which happens, no one eats there, then it's not a problem.
What's the story about the city? Like the want to make a Chatzeres for the city or something like that.
Yeah.
So would that work for the hotel? If you're
Which
in the
hotel?
Catskills, let's say presumably.
No, but it has to be in the 1/8. They don't have 1/8 for that.
Los Angeles?
They don't have 1/8.
Your dollar allows you to
Understand?
eat in the common area or just in your
No, in the common area, whole common area, the whole
You
hotel.
walk on the pool, everywhere.
Everywhere, the way around.
You rent it from him.
You rent from the
I
guy.
go on a cruise, I go to the captain, I give him $1.
Yes, you're allowed to carry
So I can walk on the
the whole boat. Yes. Now you don't really need one up in Halacha. You only need when there's 2 Yisrael Asim Zeazeh. You understand? Let's say that's the only time you need a Riva Chatzeres.
2 Yidden with their own food.
So you have you have a neighbor. Your house. You live with a neighbor in your house. So I don't know how much you don't hold from the Eidiv, but if you hold the Eidiv as mamish basel, you need to make it even chatzeres to carry in the backyard.
Every week my kids are playing outside, remember, I think.
But you don't need an Eidiv because you don't have to be so machman and say the Eidiv is not good. I mean,
Oh, the Eruv, if you go to Eruv, it's also a part of the
yes, for sure. They know the city makes it even chatzeres.
City what?
By having this.
By having the Seder, city makes it even chatzeres. How far Chabad machman? How far?
They do it even by a duplex.
Yeah, I did it in my apartment, me and my neighbor.
Without a bracha, you have to do it.
We said a bracha.
No,
Rabbi
for sure.
Shimon said even with a bracha. I think that was the Chiddush.
All due
I
respect.
think that's the Chiddush.
That doesn't make sense.
I
Yeah,
don't remember.
according to the Shulchan Aruch, the Eidiv is a good Eidiv. You can, the Shulchan Aruch is just because of problem. Find out for me.
Why, for Melchemet Rishus, why 3 days also before the start of the war?
So the Rif says, very good question. The Rif learns because war makes you lose appetite, you won't be able to eat.
Also, so still with the
Yes, that's how you learn. Very good. Yes, very good. You're innocent. Everybody asked. The Gemara also says going to war 3 days before. So the Rif says because 3 days before you start a war, the 3 days it takes you to calm down the anxiety. So the 4 days before you'll calm down maybe to eat Shabbos. So the Balamor learned because you go to war, you're going to have to Mechal Shabbos. Once you're in the middle of the battle, you can't say, okay, Shabbos. So he says, so 3 days before that, don't go into battle. But if you go 4 days before, then you could. So,
But anytime the Chavis Mitzvah,
right.
The question, I don't know if you answered that at some point, but the one where the anchor is touching the ground, how come that doesn't make it?
So that doesn't make it because it has to be the bottom of the boat has to, it's not the anchor, either the bottom of the boat has to touch the ground or less than 10 tefachim, or where you're sitting. Let's be machmer, extremely machmer. But the boat has to be less than 10 tefachim, the bottom of the boat, from the ocean floor. You follow?
They get really close now.
They don't. What? You know what 10 tefachim is?
No, not 10
You know what 10
They
tefachim
get
is?
small.
The height of the stable. This is an incredible risk. They would never do that.
If you look
All
at
it takes is a little bit.
One shake.
if you look at the Queen Mary,
But Queen Mary is sitting there.
yeah, but that's what they do when they
You
move
asked
in.
about the
It's
Queen Mary.
very but it's what they do is because it's a very shallow draft.
But how shallow is this?
I just know it's shallow.
You're
Shallower
on
than most
you were
people
on the
think.
boat, you weren't underneath the boat, Shmuley. Let's
I was on that second floor. I was pretty low to the ground. Felt like I was right up on the water.
You throw water out there.
And any other question? Okay, let me just say, since we began Hilchos Shabbos, I want to say another question that came up. Lots of young people ask me this question. One of the questions young people always ask me if should it be on tape? Taped? Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. So the question is, you have guests, and she has to go to the mikveh Friday night. And if you're very young, you think that the whole world knows and thinks, and young women are very, very shy about it. So the first halacha is if you don't have children, you don't have a boy and a girl, you're mechuyev to go. Being uncomfortable is not a heter. As long as you're not mekayim the mitzvah, there's no heter. That's number one. Number two,
We have to go Friday night?
yeah,
Never the time. Never the time.
if that's the time, if that comes out the time, and just because one of your guests will figure out, and you're shy, but since if you're not mekayim, you don't have a boy and a girl, you're mechuyev to go. And she could become pregnant, it's not nursing or whatever it is, situation is, but if she's not nursing, and you're mechuyev to have a boy and a girl. But the question that lots of women ask me, I have guests, can I put on makeup and then go to the mikveh and take off the makeup? See, makeup, there's two malachas in Shabbos. I want to explain something. There's malachas tzoiveya and there's malachas ksiva. Writing. Writing, if you write on your body, you chayiv chatas. Do you know that? Putting on makeup is only a derbanan. There's no heter for a lady to put on makeup Shabbos. None. No one ever, there is no such a kula in the world. But the question is, she puts on before Shabbos. Now, Friday night, you're allowed to take off makeup, but makeup is not ksiva. Makeup is tzoiveya. And there's no iser to be moichik tzoveya. You understand? There's two malachas. Writing is because I want to communicate something, that's called writing. Painting, I want it to look different. I want my cheek to look different and my eyelids to look different. So that's tzoveya. On tzoveya, there is no iser to take off the coloring. Understand? What?
there's no erasing on
There's no erasing on tzoveya.
So what's the erasing on what?
On letters.
On letters.
Just letters. That's
Just letters. So if you would write something on your hand, you have written something in your hand, that you're not allowed to erase. Writing on your hand is an issa d'oraisa. It's very amazing. Writing letters, you do on your body is an issa d'oraisa. Surveya is only the rabbanon. So if a
like tattoo, or you talk about mamish like
writing, let's see. Someone wrote something Shabbos on there, 2 letters, chayav chatos. But if a guy put on makeup on Shabbos, it's not even the rabbanon. But to take it off, everyone agrees you're allowed to. So let's say a lady, I always have this suffix, and I recently looked into it because so many women ask me, can they take off the nail polish? They have guests, Certain women are like, they have to look, and even for the guests,
They want to have their nails done, but then leave to go to the mikveh and take it off.
take it
there
off,
on
right,
Shabbos.
on Shabbos. It was 2 days Yontiv, 2 days, when was it, 2 days Yontiv, 3 days Yontiv, you want to take it off? So there's no Issa Mechika on nail polish.
You can do it yourself?
You can do it yourself. But putting on fresh, I just want to make it clear, there's no head to put on makeup. There is no such a thing in the world to put on makeup,
Except
Shabbos.
for lip gloss is not really
Where do you take that from?
so bad.
Well, lip gloss makes it glossy, so it's all sorts of air, no?
It's not permanent.
Yeah, but how do you put it? It does make permanent. Who says it has to be permanent? It doesn't have to be
It
permanent.
goes away.
So lipstick also goes away.
No, it's on.
Isn't it Shiurim?
But there's another problem. How do you put it on? With a stick?
Yeah.
The stick you can't put it on. It's like you can't use soap on Shabbos.
Or so.
It changes the shape.
Because you take the thing, why can't you use soap? Because you're taking a solid dissolving. You take this and you can't use deodorant that's a solid. You can use, the spray or the roller, whatever.
Gel.
So yeah, rolling, let's say rolling.
If you have a rolling, it's okay.
Oh.
There's another big chumrah that the Shulchan Aruch holds, and Mishnah Berurah doesn't hold. But since you're Chabad, I'm going to say the chumrah. The Shulchan Aruch holds you're not allowed to put on your body perfume on Shabbos and Yom Tov.
Not even
I've
on
heard
your,
that.
on your skin only.
On your skin. The Shulchan Mishnah Berurah disagrees, and it's a machlok shetazim u'gavron. The Shulchan Aruch paskins, like I forgot which with the chumrah, and he says you're not allowed to. Any kohen over here in the crowd? Any kahana? So the minig was they used to wash the kahanim's hand. They would have a big bowl and they would put smelling salt into it and they'd wash the kohen's hands. So the Shulchan Aruch says that you have to stop that minig because the kohen hand smells afterwards. Even though that's not the tachlis. The tachlis is to wash the kohen, but they used to make it look nice and look pretty and. So the Mishnah Berurah argues, he says, on the body of a person, on the clothing, you're not allowed to put on perfume. On the body of a person, you're not allowed to.
Rabbi says the same thing. It's not what it read on the skin. Only the clothes.
Yeah, they're different because no tikkun. You don't say tikkun on the gavra, on the person. Okay, whatever it is. He passes the kudah like the Mishnah Berurah, right? But the Shulchan Aruch is very machmir. He doesn't even bring a machlokes. He's like
On the body.
on the body. So if you use deodorant, you cannot use deodorant that has a smell, a sense to it. You got to use a deodorant that doesn't have a sense. So you can't use a stick deodorant. You can use a spray deodorant or the roll-on, but you got to get Shabbos, the one that doesn't have a smell. Yeah.
So they could go to the mikveh and take off the.
You can take off, yes, but I tell them, since we speak, not to put on mascara, what is called mascara. That is very difficult to take off. Not because it's a problem, it's a take off, and it's a chatzitza. So it becomes a chatzitza, so that's what I tell them. Otherwise, this is a common question asked all the time.
What's the story with the gel, whatever they call them, the nails? These gels that some women put on.
That is-
They last like 2 months.
Yeah, it doesn't make a
Or
difference.
month.
The meaning in Klal Yisrael says the Ramah, to take everything off. If a lady comes to the mikveh, she arrives, and we have now a mikveh Tauber, and the lady's not from the Heimische people, and she makes a fuss, let her, Al Pi Halacha you're allowed to.
So if it's in
But,
perfect shape.
but the minig the Ramah brings down, or the minig from who knows how long, the minig brings down from the Rashba already. So who knows, there's 1,000 years old, this minig. That the minig is to take everything off. Now, Ikar Halacha, a lady arrives that way, and what are you going to do? We had a lady once arriving, she had a ring on the toe, and you can't even take her off. It's not something you ever take off. So I told the mikveh, don't just leave it. Just leave it. It's not in Meikara, then it's not a chatzitza because it never comes off. It's not supposed to come off, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, but if like a tchela, we don't do that. If you're a frum lady, we will ask me, should I do that? No, we don't do that. We don't wear it for that reason, and that's why you shouldn't have what you just asked me, nail polish. Women have asked me. It lasts for 2 months, and they say it's great. I asked my daughter, says it comes out to be great.
How about length of hair?
It's not a problem length of hair.
However long you should.
As long as you make sure the hair goes into the water, there's no problem. Halacha.
No, having hair.
Braided hair, the meaning is
no,
not.
braided. I'm saying. The
Fake
longer
hair?
it is, the harder it it is to get up.
Yeah,
Long
it's,
hair is chatzitza?
hair is not a chatzitza. It have long hair, so you're gonna have to work harder to come out the hair, but it's not a chatzitza.
The longer it is, the harder it is to comb.
That's true.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a harder. She has a harder job for herself.
Okay.
But there's no isser.
Okay.
There's absolutely no isser.
No, practicality is what
That's a separate issue.
What about if it's like considered dangerous, you know, because the mikvah is all the way up there, by us, it's all the way on Pico, and it's at night, is that considered?
Dangerous the gabba what?
People,
for a woman to walk by herself.
for a woman to walk by herself from like, you know, it's La Cienega.
If it's dangerous, then you're right. Then
Women don't do, they're not walking from here 2 miles.
yeah, that's dangerous. Then it's
A
dangerous.
mile there, a mile back.
That's what rabbis in Brazil. We have a mikveh over here.
You should ask your local rabbi if it ever happens Friday. There's a tatum what to do. Don't want to be quoted on this tape over here. There's ways to do it. So ask your local rabbi.
To do what?
If it's Friday night, they're not going to walk 2 miles. It's 2 miles from here, Mamish.
It's a mile there, at least, it's all the way up by Ralph's and Pico.
Yeah, it's a mile and a half. It's a mile and a half each way.
It's a mile and a half each way. If you live here, it's a mile and a half. Yeah, ask your local rabbi. Okay. No, there's a way to do it. Okay. Yeah.